So let's the battery charged. So let's see if it's good. Come on. I'd say that's winning. Now let's go ahead and drain the gas tank. Huh. Well, that's not hooked to anything. Gas actually looks pretty good. Look at that. Gonna need a Bendix. Gonna need a starter relay and a coil and plug wire and some various bits of wiring. I think we're good. I'm gonna change the oil. Let's go ahead and see how bad the oil is. I'm not holding out too much hope on the oil. Ooh, that's black, and there's not much in there. All right, all fluids drained. Let's go ahead and put it back together. I'm seeing a little bit of what looks to be some RTV down there, so God only knows. Surprises. We are missing a case bolt right there, and this one is not even screwed in, so we're gonna have to dig a little deeper. I think the first order of business is going to be strip it down a little bit, dig into that top end and just see what's in there before we even attempt to start it. Alright, well, let's open this up, see what's in there, because I see RTV over here, which tells me, why can't I get it? Tells me it's been opened up and fucked with. Timing's good. Valves are adjusted properly. I don't think anybody's gone any deeper than this. Chain's nice and tight. Need to block off these vacuum ports. But so far so good. While I got that off like that, let's go ahead and eliminate some emissions stuff. Take this fucking thing, throw it away, and I'll just plug this for now. I may look and see if I have a non-emissions head, which I'm sure I do, but for now. Okay, we do have a missing bolt right there, but I think that the kid just started taking bolts out for some dumb reason. I highly doubt he ever got that case open, because I don't think he has had the brains or the tools to remove the stator or the flywheel. So I'm just going to put that bolt back in. He also told me I had a new throttle cable. That's not a new throttle cable. I mean, it could be, but I don't think so. The guy did live in filth, though, so who knows. Sorted out a little bit of the wiring. Now I gotta find a starter relay, a plug wire, some ground wire, bunch of shit. Oh wow, will you look at that? Maybe he did replace the throttle cable, because look how it's run. That ain't gonna work. Alright, got the throttle cable sorted out. Oh, I thought I had that tight. I guess I didn't. But anyway, we got that ran properly now. And actually, things like that give me hope, because it looks to me like this kid just had zero idea what he was doing and tried to do stuff anyway. So I think if I just go through and kind of fix all his little mistakes, I think we may be running. I had thought about just throwing on a known good motor, but I'll make this one work. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off, because my experience has always been they never stay in place and they end up sliding forward and getting stuck and causing problems. So bye bye. Much better. Now let's go ahead and get that hooked to the carb. May as well get those vacuum ports plugged. Take a look at my other videos for a trick on doing this if you haven't seen it already. One and two. Vacuum ports are plugged. All right. I found myself a coil and a plug wire. Starter relay. I don't know what else. I got the wiring hooked up for the most part. He's done some stupid shit. He's cut the brake wires on the front brake. I don't know. I need to find some positive cables for this and run a couple grounds, and then I think we can attempt to get this fucker started up. And once we get it started up, we can get it cleaned up, looking nice, and get it the hell out of here so I can work on the next project. I even found myself some mirrors, although that one's still okay-ish. Alright, well, since I know the battery is good, I am going to go ahead and just test and see if the starter spins. Alright, we got some cables connected there. No batteries were shot in the making of this film. Let's set her up there. Let's find a decent spot to set a ground. Maybe if we just sandwich it right there, that might be good enough. And let's hit the starter. Well, I think my ground may not be good enough. I'm getting nothing out of that starter. Nothing. Nothing at all. I had a couple popping noises. This is okay because I've got a couple other starters laying around. So let's see if this starter will turn. Let's just stick that in there and take this and ground it. That starter spins. Good enough. Go ahead and take this one off and put that one on. Just for the sake of argument, I took the old one off. Let's try it again and just make sure that I didn't do something wrong. Yeah, that starter does not work. Interesting. Okay. Replacement starter in. Now I guess let's go ahead and... Oh, by the way, he told me that it was a new starter. I'm going to go ahead, get the floor pan put back on, and run the wires properly, and we'll see if any of the switches work. Now, he did tell me that that it needed a new wiring harness, and I think since he was correct about everything else, well, yeah, I don't think it needs a new wiring harness. I think he was just retarded. So I'm going to step away for a minute and get this wired up. I don't have wires that are quite long enough, so we're going to kind of do a temporary setup here just to verify that things work. I'll be back. All right, so just as a quick test. Uh-oh. What's happening? Okay, it spins. This screwdriver just... There you go, you can hear it. Good enough. Let's see. I don't have a key, so... well, it looks like he eliminated all that anyway. God only knows what he's done with the wiring now. So I'm going to take a look at all that mess and get right back to you. Well, the wiring is a mess, so I know that I can get the starter to spin. So I am going to spin this fucker around, throw the Bendix in, and see if I can get spark. I'll probably have to remove the black and red wire from the CDI. Typically that's the kill wire if I'm not mistaken. We'll figure that out in a minute. Okay, I found an old Bendix and a CVT cover, but before we do that, let's look at the variator, because everything else on this thing has been muddled up. So I want to look at that, and then we'll put some oil in it and check it for spark. Well, they got some flat spots, but everything's there, so it'll do for now. We'll address that later. Goal is to get this fucker started right now. So I'm gonna throw the CVT together, put some oil in it, and check this bad bitch for start. Or, excuse me, check this thing. We're going to see if we have spark. Bendix in, CVT cover on. Wiring still not correct, but good enough for the moment. I'm going to drink me a Monster Energy drink, have a smoke, find some oil, throw the oil in it, and go from there. Alright, I found this here high mileage, excuse me, 10W30 in the shed. I I'm tired of the oil argument. Use whatever oil you have as long as it's new oil, and change it often. This is not the oil I would have chosen if I went to the store, but nonetheless, it's brand new oil and that's what it needs. I've said my piece. I'm going to go ahead and throw 3/4 of that or so in there, and then we'll be back to check this thing for spark. Quick note I wanted to mention, this is how I recommend doing your grounds. Straight from the battery to the valve cover for one, straight from the battery to the starter bolt for the other. Alright, I filled her up with oil and I went ahead and pulled the plug just so we could see it and so we could test it. Honestly, I was expecting it to be worse, so I think this plug should work just fine. And it's an NGK, so shit, for all I know, this came from the factory. Well, good news. Didn't even have to cut the kill switch wire, so he's got some kind of wiring bullshit rigged up. It is getting a spark, as you can see. Not the greatest spark, but I think it's enough to run it. I'm going to put some gas in and we're going to find out. I did not clean that carb. He claims it's a new carb. Yeah, we'll see. But I'm going to try it as is. So I'm going to grab some gas and we'll see if it fires up. Bear with me here. We're going to see if this will fire. It's got spark, it's got gas, I put oil in, everything should be good to go. The only thing I don't know is how I'm going to shut it off if it does start, but we'll figure that out later. I guess I could just pull the plug wire. Let's goose it a little bit. Puff a couple of times. I'm gonna spare you. I'll start recording again if it fires up. And it puffs a little bit, but I gotta clean that carburetor. Woo! I'm able to get it started, but of course now it won't do it on camera. Ooh, she does start and run, but man, I think that exhaust pipe might be full of oil. Ooh, I'm gonna choke on fumes. Man. Alright, so I got it to start and run. I don't know if you can see all this smoke in here. I think it was just running off a carb cleaner though. So, I'm going to pull this carb apart. Okay, you ready for the reveal? I have not looked at this yet. This is the new carburetor. Well, I mean, it could be worse. Huh. Okay. Pull those jets, clean them, and see what we get. Here's a new one for y'all. So I pulled this carburetor apart to clean it. Kid claimed it was a new carburetor, and unless I'm mistaken, never seen anything like this before. I don't believe that it has a needle in it. I'm not finding a needle. That's crazy. Let's open up the top and see what's up. Okay, well, that's something else. There was a needle in it, and it's bent. What in the fuck? That's crazy. Can't get it to focus, but you can see, there you go. It's bent. Wow. All right, carb put back together, put back on. It's got a non-bent needle in it now. Adjusted the air fuel screw to 1.5 turns. Well, let's see what this bitch is gonna do now. Will she run? I mean, I had it running, but let's kickstart it. No idea if you can see what I'm doing or not. Don't really care. Just want to get this thing to fire up. Well, it would help if I hooked up the throttle cable, wouldn't it? So I can juice it. Hey, hey! Look at that! Look at that! She's running. Not bad. I'll take it. Not bad for a couple hours of tinkering. Now to address the bent front forks, which I've got replacements. Clean her up, tune her up, and get her the hell out of here. Another successful revival. Woohoo! Yee yee! Yee yee! One piece at a time. Gotta fix those front forks. Alright. Time to get this front end sorted out. I have a really hard time believing that this is bent. But I guess it could be. I'm just assuming that these tubes are bent. And I have a set of tubes right here. We'll pop those off and just see what happens. This could get interesting. I've never done this before. I suppose I'll just loosen those couple of nuts, pop it through, and then get the other one off of one of my scrap frames. Kid could have mentioned that he hit a brick wall going 200 miles an hour. Oh well. Well, that was way easier than anticipated. That's good news. Now to go steal one off one of my parts bikes. Let's make it happen. All right, got one. Let's get that sucker on there. Man, I love it when a task ends up being easier than anticipated. Yes. We do have one minor problem though, Houston. It's missing the spacer right there. So clearly this kid took it apart before trying to fix it and did not put the spacer back on. I think I got one somewhere. For just a few short hours work, I'm pretty happy with how she stands right now. I'm gonna call that good for part 2. Motor's running. Front wheel has been taken care of. It needs a spacer, but I'll take care of that, I promise. Yeah, I mean it's a rideable machine now. I found some panels. Stay tuned for part 3 where I'm gonna show you this thing cleaned up and rolling.